Welcome to Practically Tactical on Target, brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. Practically Tactical on Target is a show dedicated to sharing with you some of the best products or services in the firearms industry. Don't forget, you can listen to the Practically Tactical show here on the Firearms Radio Network as well. New episodes drop every Sunday at noon Central Standard Time, and you can catch the live shows Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. On that show, we feature some of the most well-known figures in the firearms industry. For more information on Practically Tactical and on Target to see everything we discuss, please visit practacpodcast.com. So if you can't figure it out so far right now by the giant wall of targets behind Mark here, we have Mark from EZ2C Targets. Thanks for coming on today, Mark.
Hey, Nick, good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me.
Yep. Now,
Appreciate
I'm
it.
going to have the camera, for those watching on YouTube here, I'm going to have the camera just stuck on you so we can take in this glory of targets, because
Okay.
I got to be honest, it's making me wish I was at the range right now. So,
So yeah, no one better to not shoot this.
Before we get into it here, where can everybody find you on the web and social media and all the interweb stuff?
Absolutely. The website is www.ez2ctargets.com. I'm on Facebook at EZ2C Targets. You can follow me on Twitter at EZ2C Targets, and we also have Instagram, which is EZ2C_Targets. I just got into Instagram, so I'm a little slow on that. And I just got a YouTube channel, but there's only 3 videos on it, so I'm not going to promote that just yet. But if you guys want to check it out, you can see it.
All right. So I'm sure if they just Google EZ2C, now that's EZ, so the letters,
Yes.
then number 2, and then C, the letter C, targets. You should be able to find it. Now, I also need to point out to all of our listeners and viewers out there that Mark was kind enough to give a discount coupon to everybody. So if you use Practically Tactical, one word, you get 10% off your whole order. So do that. I know I've gotten a couple messages on that, so that is the code right there, as we've talked about before in the show. So let's move into our first segment. Our first segment here. EZ2C Targets. People might not have heard of you. You've actually been around for a really long time, reputable company. Kind of give us a little bit of history on EZ2C Targets, would you, Mark?
Sure thing, Nick. The business was actually invented by my father. We were avid shooters as kids. He would take us to the range, and we were also in the printing business and have been for some 30-some years. And we were frustrated by some of the targets they had back in the 90s at the range. They were these black targets printed on cardstock that were yellowed, looked like old newsprint. So it was pretty frustrating just being in the printing business, looking at these targets, saying this just isn't right. Maybe this is what shooters have been using and this is what they're used to, but coming from a printing aspect, this is terrible. So we experimented with a couple of inks, a couple of different styles, and we were sort of ready to take them to the range. We took them to a range to an old friend of the family. We shot the place up. We left him, we left him a whole stack of targets. Came back a couple of months later, and he was just, "Where you guys been? You didn't leave me your address. Oh, the people love them." And so from that point on, it sort of lit a little, lit up a little thing in my dad's head where, okay, this could be something that could work. So we came up with a couple of styles. 20 years later, here I am. I bought the business from my father about a year ago, and I've expanded the product line. We've taken to Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, those kinds of things. We do gun shows all over the country, particularly in the East Coast. We launched a line of custom printed targets, which some of you guys probably can or can't see. I'll show you those a little bit later. But it's been great, and I'm really doing something now that I love to do compared to my last venture in life.
Well, and for those, hopefully, if you're listening on podcasts, go to practacpodcast.com, because this video will be linked in there as well. I mean, right now, the orange just pops.
Correct.
And that's something we were kind of talking about beforehand, is maybe everybody's right now seeing something really cool because you have a bunch of really cool different targets, or thinking, oh, I'm just going to go home and print them. Well, it doesn't actually work quite like that, because your color is very specific and it's designed for a specific purpose, correct?
Correct. A lot of people, I'll do a lot of shows on the weekend, and they'll say to me, oh, I just print them at work, or I print them at home, or I download them. Well, there's three problems with that. One is when you print them at work, people say, oh, they're free, I print them at work. I don't think their boss thinks it's very free. Two is a lot of home printers won't print anything so large, so you're printing on 8.5 by 11 paper, maybe legal paper if you're lucky. And three is that this ink is a proprietary ink in that it only really is a fluorescent red ink. I know you might be seeing orange on some of your monitors and so forth. That's just a natural thing. But if you get a chance to look at it up close, it is a red ink. Some people call it orange because it sort of has an orange tint to it. But nonetheless, it is a fluorescent red ink, and it really pops. And it presents a high contrast um, with your gun, with your sights. You're shooting a black gun, black sights. You've got a red target. So that's creating high contrast alone. So yeah, I get that all the time. People, I print them at home or I download them or that kind of stuff. But um, also, if you look at, an ink cartridge is 20 something dollars. That's cheap. You might be able to print 5 or 6 of these with it. So I'm talking $7 at my lowest price, $7 for 40 of them. So the math just doesn't simply work out, and people come back and they realize that. And, so if you're thinking of stealing my JPEGs online, go ahead, but they're not going to look the same.
uh, no, I mean that is true. There is printing them at home. I mean, stuff gets kind of expensive, and again, you're talking you can get 40, 50 of these things for $7, $8.
That's correct, and the paper. Like I said, even if you got the ink, you're not very many printers these days are printing, this large. So you tape them together, or you have to shoot a little closer, whatever the case may be. So that's certainly one of my competition is the do-it-yourselfers, print them at home kind of guys. And we could talk about some of the other competition, and that's the shoot and see. And I don't know if I want to take you off tangent for a second, but I do want to bring up a point about that. Is that okay?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
expensive.
Well, I get shoot and sees all the time. People come up to me and say, "Are these the ones that do these when you shoot them? Do they are the?" No, they're not. Okay, what it is there's three things that make a great target, in my opinion. Someone could prove me wrong, but they have yet to. And that is visibility, visibility, and visibility. That's visibility before you shoot. You've got a fluorescent red ink. You've got a bright target. It's printed on white paper. It's downrange. You're going to see it. During the shot, you're holding up your sights. You've got a black gun. You've got black sights. You've got a scope, whatever it is. There again, it's going to stand out that much more. Then after the shot. After the shot, you also want to see if you hit the red, you'll know it. If you hit the white, you're going to know it. Now, a shoot and see target, people tell me all the time, well, I like to see where I shot. I like to see where the shots land. Okay, forget the fact that it's 7 or 8 times as expensive per target as my product is. It is a good product. I can't knock it that much other than the cost. The problem is 90% of them are black. So you're shooting a black target, black guns, black sight, black bullet, black hole. All that stuff is black. You don't have any contrast. So that's why I say you got visibility before, during, and after the shot. And these targets have done that for 20 some years faithfully. And I have a legion of a little army of shooters that could back that up and verify that for me. A
Well,
literal army.
well, and here's what I can tell you: you have fully converted me.
Oh
So,
boy.
I mean, God, the shoot to see. I mean, they are nice, but literally, I mean, they're like $8 a pack for
Yeah, they're a
like
gimmick.
4. Yeah,
You'll never
and
see any. You'll never see an NRA competition where they're shooting C's.
you are 100% correct there too. But so why we have we're going to take advantage of your Wallow targets here.
Okay,
Can you
thank
go
you.
over a few of your targets here and
Sure.
let them know the style number and just talk a little bit about each one and maybe some of their specific uses?
Yeah, I think it might be a little easier if I hold them up a little closer. Um, we have particularly rifle targets, and we also have pistol targets. Some of the rifle targets, all of my rifle targets, for instance, have 1-inch grids. Can you see? Yeah, you can see that. They
Yep.
have 1-inch grids for sighting in. This one here was invented by my father, Tom Gregory, about 20 years ago, and I have yet to see a target like it on the market. I saw a couple of copies, but no one has really done exactly this. And this is just strictly for scope, strictly a rifle target. You're lining it up in the crosshairs. Your crosshairs typically are red. You're taking a nice shot, and where your shot lands, you could do your sight-ins, take your next shot, and sight that in. So that's one of my best rifle targets per se.
And
Uh,
what style number is that?
I'm sorry, that's style number 10
Okay.
for those keeping score at home. This one, of course, everyone knows what this one is. This is a dartboard. This one I came out with maybe about a year ago under a lot of requests. I didn't want to ignore the air rifle and the 22 market, particularly with the ammo things that are going on. Some of the 20 people are shifting to air rifles just because the ammo is cheaper and you could shoot in your backyard, in your basement, and whatnot. So this is a good target for for smaller caliber. Um, okay, this one here is one of my famous. I've seen this thing. I'm sure you've seen this thing floating around, and
Mhm.
this one here is for right-hand shooters. It was developed by the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit. So if anybody knows what they're talking about, it's them. So this is our tax dollars at work here. But what this is a wheel, and it tells you what's going on. People always tell me, well, it tells me what you're doing wrong. Well, I like to say it tells you what you're not doing so right. So, like I said, people say, "Oh, there's a sign of that hanging up at my range, but it's behind us, and I've got to keep on looking around." And then my husband has this other thing that's small, and we refer to that, but no one ever thought to put it on a target, and that is until now. So it's on the target here. It tells you what's going on. It has the same scoring rings as a B16, an NRA B16 target, and this is for right hands, and I get all the time, well, what about the lefties? Well, the second half of the pack here is for left-hand shooters.
Ah,
This is style 11, and the dartboard was style 15 for those keeping score at home. So style 11 is absolutely one of my new best sellers. Now, a quick note about this thing is I was calling this a beginner target. When I was at the NRA show, a guy came up to me. He'd been shooting for 20-some years, an instructor. He said, "This is not a beginner target." He says, I could always get better, and this is what I want to shoot, and this is what I'm bringing to my classes, and this is what I want people to learn from." So
okay.
that's style 11 there. This one here is dot torture. This is a shooting drill, a 50-shot shooting drill. There are 10 2-inch circles. You'll fire a total of 50 shots at the thing. So you'll start on one, do what it tells you to do, draw and fire 5 shots, draw, fire, follow you all the way through. So this one is a drill more than it is a target per se. And that is if you have to use your weapon. When I say really have to use your weapon, you don't have 10 minutes to line up your shot. You've got to take it out, be on target, be accurate, and that's exactly what this drill teaches you to do.
No, that is by far my favorite target because, I mean, with all the firearms instructors we have on Practically Tactical, we get that question all the time. What drills do you do? You know, what can I do to become a better CCW person? What can I do to get better at pistols? And literally, that pack right there not only is the target, but also the instructions. And I think that one is absolutely fantastic.
That's correct. That is correct. And like I said, I applied the EZ2C red ink to it. So the only bummer about it for me is it takes 50 shots to go through the target. I only recommend 1 or 2 shots per target, but hey, that's me. But the thing I did leave out is you want to increase your distance or decrease your time as you get better with this thing. So you'll want to score, if you score a 45 or above, you could begin to back up a little bit. You're starting at only 4 to 5 yards, so this isn't anything you're putting 75 feet down range. Absolutely not. Nor is it a rifle target. So this is a good shooting drill, if you will. And you've heard of
Yeah,
that before, Nick?
and that is style 17.
That is style, very good, style 17.
Yeah.
Correct. Just quickly back to a rifle target. This one here, once you are sighted in, it's a little tough sighting in with this one, but once you are sighted in, typically rifle ranges, you don't have returns. You've got to walk 200-300 yards down there to go get your target. This one has 4 on a sheet, so you can shoot 4 fresh targets on it. And also, they're diamond based, and they're also squares, and they have 1-inch circles in them. This one here is one of my more popular targets out there. This one here is style 9. I knew that. I didn't have to look. But style 9 is an 8-inch target with rings 2 through 8 with a solid fluorescent red. This can be seen with the naked eye. Now, you can't see where a shot lands. I don't care what target you have. This can be seen with the naked eye at 1,000 feet, and that is proven,
Wow.
and I have the proof to do that. In fact, I should have taken a picture of it, but I don't know if it would have turned out. But yes, I put this thing 1,000 feet away, and it can be seen. That does
Wow.
not hold true for any of my other targets, but this concentration of red does work at 1,000 feet. I don't know if you want to
And
shoot
that
it at
is
1,000.
style 9, right?
That's
You
correct.
said?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just want to do one last one, and that's style 5. And now this is what I tell people to use I say, what do you shoot? A little rifle, a little pistol, a little both. This is what I recommend, and that is because it's a bullseye-based target. It also has grids for sighting in. So being a bullseye-based target, it'll work great for pistol. And also with the 1-inch grids, and we also darkened the center strokes on this thing. So when you're lining up your scope, you'll notice that the strokes are darker, and it's also a 1-inch target in the center. So this is what I recommend for just if you're not sure if you want to start out. This is one of my most popular styles, other than number 11. So this is style 5 EZ2C Targets.
Okay.
And just one other fast one. This is style 12. Always give them more than what they're asking for, right, Nick? This is style 12, right. And this is modeled after one of your more popular 25-yard slow-fire targets. And it has graduated scoring rings. It's a 10-inch target. And this, of course, is a standard, an oldie but a goodie.
Well, and something I'm going to put you on the spot here. One of my favorite targets is Style 18, and I actually take Style 18 and customize it to be similar to 17. For those that are listening, Style 18 is a 6-box target that is not numbered. And then what we did on the range was we numbered it, and then for rifle drills, somebody would call out a number, and then that is the target. There we go, right there. Okay. That is the one that we customized to use for targets. We just write our own numbers in there. And that's what we would do for doing rifle drills.
Oh, okay. So you're calling out a number. So yeah, I'd never even thought of that. So you're writing any number in there, A, B, C, D, and then we're aiming for that particular box.
Yep.
Huh. Fantastic. So that's a great idea. That's the beauty of this thing. You could make up any kind of game you want.
Yeah. And then for those who are curious too, you actually do make self-adhesive sticker targets as well, correct?
That's correct, Nick. I always get the question, do you have the dots? Do you have those little circles? Do you have the dots? I don't see the point to them, but what I came up with was that I came up with these are mini targets. I have them in 16 different styles. Don't ask me why I have 16. I could probably get away with about 5 of them. But they are self-adhesive. They're 3.5-inch by 3.5-inch paper. You just rip them off. There's 25 in a pack. They're self-adhesive. You can slap them on Amazon boxes, beer boxes, pizza boxes, trees, beer cans, whatever it is, and you basically have an instant target. So this is probably more for rifle than anything else. Do you like these? Did you shoot these as well?
I did, and we gave away a bunch of EZ2C targets on the Facebook page, and I know those are really popular, so we gave those away. And then something too we also need to point out is not only are these for consumers, but for those gun shops are out there or other businesses that maybe want to give away something like we did or customize something, you do offer some customized printed targets, correct?
Yes, Nick. I see this as the next thing in the evolution of this business, and that is the customized targets. If you're a gun shop, well, I'm going to use the gun shop example because that's the best one, but you're a gun shop without a range. And for instance, this gentleman here, in case of emergency, I do some shows with him. He's a local guy out of Pennsylvania. But in any event, he has his logo, and we did a nice job for him. He put his phone number and his website on there. But he doesn't have a range, but he sells holsters, guns, all kinds of things. So what he'll do is when he'll sell a couple $100 gun, a nice rifle or something like that, he'll give them a pack of targets. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to run to a range. They're going to hang this baby up. Now, everyone at the range is going to see that. So he's advertising. Without even knowing it, the shooter is advertising for in case of emergency. Now, one of the other, we could do other styles. We also have some other guys that do this as well. But I'm also finding that we're getting people that are advertising that are not necessarily gun shops. I have some lawyers that are taking some things out. And just today I got a call from a lawyer, an insurance agent, I'm sorry, that wants to offer insurance and advertise to shooters. These are just a sample of some of my guys that I've done work for recently. And I'm finding that, one, that the gun shop, number one, should have targets for sale. Two, they're getting this at a pretty good wholesale price, and they're able to make a pretty decent markup. So they're able to sell advertising, which is different than advertising in the paper or advertising out front or whatever it is, because when you're going to the range, you are advertising to shooters, which is every gun shop's target market, no pun intended.
And one more thing that I do have to point out, because we run into this issue at the range, one of our ranges that we attend to, it's on DNR land, so we can't have human-like targets.
Correct.
But style number 4 which is basically it's kind of like it, but
Hmm.
it is non-humanoid. Right there
Hmm.
is that is what we use for self-defense, like quick draw, for example. Like
Okay.
when I have my Glock 42 out, I mean I'm not going to be out target shooting with it. It is a strictly self-defense role firearm, and that is a target that we use when we're on DNR land
Okay.
or ranges that we can't use humanoids. So that is a big tip out there for everybody on that one. That is style number 4.
That's style four. We call this our politically correct silhouette. I have yet to come across a range that has said you can't shoot this. That's because it still has a head and center mass, but it's shaped like a head and sort of shaped like a center mass, but not really. But we also made it a little smaller, made 2 hot spots on there. So yeah, that's correct, Nick. That's a good point.
I always think of like the robots from that Will Smith movie. I don't know, for some reason
iRobot.
that's what reminded me. There you go. That's what I think of. So, well, thank you for coming on and sharing all these targets with us. Again, there's like so if you're listening on podcast, you gotta check out the video because there's just a wall of targets. There's not a better word for it.
Should I give it a little scan here? Well, I built the whole
Yeah.
thing. You can only see a little bit of it. There we go. That has all my styles on it. I bring this to some of my trade shows. I assembled it today with the help of my son and so forth. But hey, Nick, I want to thank you for having me on. It's been a blast. I appreciate it. And keep in mind at EZ2C Targets.com, promo code Practically Tactical. Or did I just take your job? Did I?
No, it's okay. Just one word that together. So crush it together. Practically tactical. 10% off the order, and I believe you're doing 10% off shipping too, right?
That's correct, sir.
So it's a true 10% off coupon for you guys
10%
out there.
store wide. You got it. And that's for
And
all your listeners.
and then you also, we should point out real quick, you also have a couple like different signs like above your head, not
Oh,
necessarily targets, but signs and a bunch of other ones.
yeah.
We gave those away on our Facebook page as well. There we go.
Right.
My
So
gun permit.
these are some silly signs that we sell at shows that people like. They get a kick out of. Um, my father actually came up with a couple of them, and I've since expanded the line. But um, it's something neat. It's cute. People put them up in their doors. People love them. But I usually give them out with a pack of targets, or we sell them. I also sell a nicer laminated version online. So when you see them online, they're nice. They're laminated, and we can also sell those as well. And
Okay.
each one's sillier than the next, but none are politically correct. We don't do politically correct here.
All right. Well, again, guys, use the code Practically Tactical, one word, for 10% off your order, and EZ2CTargets.com, right?
That's correct.
All right, and then basically the same thing for Facebook, Twitter, and then Instagram is EZ2C_targets on Instagram.
That's correct.
We covered all that. All right. So,
Got it.
Mark, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all this with us. I really love your targets. They work absolutely great. And again, they're economical, which I think that's the two best things. They're great targets, then they're economical.
Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. So for all of our listeners out there, do you know another great company like EZ2C Targets that should be featured on Practically Tactical on Target? If so, email me at nick@firearmsradio.tv with your suggestions. So until next time, guys, thanks for listening.